JRTV is back with the NASCAR Winston Cup Series 2003 season. For the penultimate race of the season, we head to the North Wilkesboro Speedway in Wilkes County, North Carolina for the Dodge 400 short track racing late in the season. And these drivers, already gone through 30 races. Some of them might be a little agitated with other drivers. Maybe they could get some scores settled even here today at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. I'm Joe Rakowski here to bring you all the coverage right here on JRTV of the second to last race of the Winston Cup Series 2003 season, the end of an era nearing for a lot of major topics in NASCAR, such as the title sponsor Winston, down to its final two races, gas supplier 76 Racing Fuel, down to its final two races as the fuel supplier for NASCAR as well. So a lot of changing of the guard going to be coming over the next season, but we still have two races left of the old guard, and this racetrack, it's just kind of it resembles the old guard so much. It's a very worn out racetrack. It's been around for a long time. It used to be the finale race that the Winston Cup Series had its finale at for a few years, and it's a worn out track. As mentioned, these drivers love to go at it. Every driver you ask, they love racing at North Wilkesboro, and here this season it's going to be very fun to race as well. The championship battle in years past, when we come to North Wilkesboro, normally been pretty close. We've normally said some stuff about how close it is and how it's basically a toss-up in terms of who wins the championship. Well, this season, the complete opposite. Only 5 drivers enter with a mathematical shot at the championship into this race. However, that mathematical shot at the championship is a very slight mathematical shot for a championship. Brett Cira enters 256 points up on his nearest competition. 40 points to work with for Mathis Wells and the guys behind. So Mathis Wells, when I say 40 points, they are 40 points away entering this race from having been eliminated of title contention, which means if they don't have perfect days and if Brett Cira doesn't finish bad enough, Brett Cira could easily lock up the championship here today at North Wilkesboro. If he leaves this race 148 points up on second place, whoever it is at the end of the day, whether it be Mathis Wells, Luke Rainey, or someone else, Brett Cira wins the title without even having to race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's also all these point scenarios assuming that Brett Cira doesn't finish inside the top 3 in one of the races and then fail inspection and lose every single point that he would have gotten from that race. So this is assuming that Brett Cira at least gets some points for the race, and it's assuming he gets minimum points for the race. So once again, he has to have a 148 point gap leaving this race to lock it up one race early. Who are the drivers that can try and beat him? Well, it's Mathis Wells, who starts on pole. He's second in points. He's only 2 points up on Luke Rainey, who's third in points. Riley Spurgeon, Luke Rainey's teammate, is fourth in points, and Keyshawn Richardson is fifth in points. For Keyshawn, it's very simple. He needs to go out, lead the most laps, win the race, and have Brett Cira finish last in both of these races for Richardson to have a shot at the championship. That is the only way Richardson can win the championship. For Riley Spurgeon, he needs top 5 finishes in both races. Basically, if he finishes 5th today, he's gonna 5th today, and if he leads a lap, he's gonna need to then go out and win next race and have Brett Cira finish 42nd in both of those races as well. For Luke Rainey and Mathis Wells, they have the best shot, but it's still not that great of a shot. If they finish around 8th place, 7th, 8th place here today, they will have to go out and win and lead the most laps next race at Atlanta and have Brett Cira finish 42nd in both of those races. So once again, odds are stacked against them. Still mathematically possible though. And what does that mean for the points leader Brett Cira? How can he lock it up no matter what anyone else does? Say second in points, Mathis Wells goes out and leads the most laps from pole and wins the race from pole. What does Brett Cira have to do to lock up the championship? Well, here today, if he finishes in 28th place, he's a lock for the championship no matter what. 28th place will give him enough points that he can enter into Atlanta no matter what Mathis Wells or Luke Rainey or anyone else does here today. He will walk into Atlanta with the championship trophy already in hand. If he leads a lap at some point here today, he'll have to finish in 30th place or better to lock up the championship. And if he leads the most laps, that's 5 more additional bonus points. He could finish around 32nd, 33rd place and still mathematically clinch the championship at the end of the race. So Brett Cira sitting comfortably. He starts 25th today on the inside lane. That's a big starting spot. The inside lane is where everyone's going to be fighting to. So Brett Cira easily on these first few laps can gain up inside the top 20, top 15, and then just kind of ride around there and just finish out just a solid race. Nothing flashy. Brett Cira could be your 2003 champion 1 week early. But let's talk about some of the drivers starting at the front and what they can do today. Mathis Wells, last season's champion, only has one win this season. It came at the Daytona night race. So Mathis was looking for to keep that championship chances alive, looking for a second win this season. Hunter Reed, one of the last times we were at a short track was Bristol, and Hunter Reed finished second on the back bumper of the race winner at the checkered flag. He starts second here today. Hunter Reed almost won at a short track. We're now at another short track. Maybe Hunter Reed can get it done for that first ever career victory. Jay Randall, multiple wins this season, but hasn't been consistent. He's outside the top 10 in points. Looking for his fourth win of the season, starts in third. Roberto Crown Jr. has one lone Winston Cup Series victory. Came at Lowe's a few seasons ago. He's Hunter Reed's teammate. Petty Enterprises brought some good cars. We'll see if they can try and work together and get the strategy working out their way to get to victory lane. And Luke Rainey in fifth. He enters third in the points, but has not yet won a race this season. Maybe Luke Rainey can try for that first win of the season. Think back to the last two winners, Zachary DeLello at Rockingham, Lathan Strickland at Homestead. They each got their first wins of the season. Maybe Luke Rainey can become the 17th different winner of the season here today at North Wilkesboro. Move himself up to second in the points. That's a big battle for second in points. Why is it such a big battle? Well, second to ninth in points are separated by just 90 points. That means here today, Mathis, who enters second in points, can leave this race ninth in points. That's just how close it is inside the top 10. Tim Gary trying to hold on to 10th ahead of guys like Sarah Kirchner and Jay Rando and some of those other people around, 12th to 13th range. We'll see if Gary can try and hold on to that top 10. We'll have to see how that battle for second place in points goes in these final two races. Let's quickly get to our track facts. Beautiful day for racing here in October in North Carolina. Mid-60s, sunny skies, and a little bit of wind. This is an 80-lap race. The field window is 45 to 50 laps. 14 degrees of banking in the turns and only 3 on the straights. As mentioned before, this track has hosted Winston Cup Series race finales in the past. It was the finale from 1981 to 1994, a span of 14 races. And how about this interesting stat? Since it's been at the end of the season for a long, long time, Brett Cira, who, it's already his fourth season of competition, he's only actually started one prior race here at North Wilkesboro. That came in 2001, where he finished in the 4th position. So Brett Cira doesn't have much confidence maybe entering into this race, doesn't have all that information to back up on, doesn't have the experience here at this racetrack to back onto. So we'll have to see how Brett Cira goes. Obviously, his one race here was pretty good with a top 5 finish. He's been injured during the last 2 events, so we'll have to see if he can possibly find a way through the field and clinch that championship one race early. We'll go down trackside, get the man to fire the engines up for the Dodge 400 here at North Wilkesboro.
Start your engines.
42 cars fire their engines, rolling off the front stretch for the second to last race of the 2003 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. Before we take the green flag, let's talk about Sebastian Kukulon starting in 8th place here today. Still not long winless drought this season, anything but optimal. The driver of the 29 has been very disappointed after a lot of practice sessions, qualifying sessions, and races so far this season. He starts 8th here today. Wasn't happy with this car in practice. They obviously improved it for qualifying. We'll see if they improved it for the race as well. Trying to win his first race. It's about race number 5 of the 2002 season. The pace car is in, about set to get going here at North Wilkesboro. Will Brett Cira lock up the championship one race early, or will Mathis, Luke Rainey, and some others try and drag it down to the wire? The green flag is waving. We're underway in the Dodge 400. What a jump for Mathis. Wells got away. It almost allowed Hunter Reed to get down in line. Reed couldn't get down front. Jay Brando knows the field comes off 4. Wells leads the first lap. 5 bonus points from pole position. That's big there because if Brett Cira were to have issues here today, then that could easily allow Mathis Wells to get back up into at least some sort of shot at the championship come Atlanta. So Wells trying to do everything he can to keep himself in that fight. Jericho moving through the field right in the back bumper of a driver had a great qualifying run, Joshua Harrison. Harrison now up to 6th place, get by Roberto Crown Jr. Jericho to 7th, now looking for 6th on Harrison. They go 3 wide for that position. Down into turn 3, Jericho, knowing he has the faster car, won this race last season, bears it down to the inside and gets the spot from Harrison up to 6th for Jericho early on. Remember, he started back in 11th, See the pack 3 wide in multiple places. Here's a 3 wide battle. Jacob Miller for CLR Racing got down in line. He's moving 3 wide on Evan Hunter and Justin Atkins, and some contact there between those guys. Luckily, they kept it going straight, though. At the front, Wells gets away from the mess behind. See, Brett Cira's now up top. Baby Ruiz put him up there. Fitzwater and Atkins get close together. Nathan Norman down to the bottom in the 23. Keegan Thompson trying to fill the void in the number 5 car. Luke Rainey currently in second. Oh, Justin Atkins spun by Collins into Keegan Thompson, who spins around middle of the field. So far doesn't get hit. Now he gets hit by Laura Chung and Nolan Lawrence. The yellow is out. And they stacked up, and Brett Cira's involved in the 25. Yeah, I was afraid when I saw that 30 come off at a shallow angle that he may have gotten up into some other drivers, and he got up into the points leader. And Mathis, well, second in points, is leading the race. How bad is the damage? Can they fix that on the 25? I think they should be able to keep that car out there, but will they be able to is the question. It's one thing of looking like he can keep it out there. It's another thing of actually being able to keep it out there. Benny Lynn's going to be done. Laura Chung has similar damage to Brett Cira. It was Cira's teammate Keegan Thompson who spun around. Didn't get hit at all until the Evernham cars came into it. Justin Atkins, who obviously was the one that got spun by Collins and then came up and I believe probably got into Brett Cira from there on. We'll have to see, can they fix this number 25, get them back out there and try and get whatever spots they can, or will they be done for the day? Laura Chung had very similar damage. They're trying to repair that car, it looks like. They're going over the wall. And there's Brett Cira, the points leader. Obviously, this is why he's happy that he has that big gap that he had. No, he's done. Brett Cira is done in the 25. Too much damage in that car. He's going to get a poor finish in that championship battle. It's going to somehow claw its way down to that final race of the season. Wells leads from pole position. We'll go check out what happened. Caution flag is out early on here at North Wilkesboro. Coming off turn number 2, 3 wide here at North Wilkesboro, that's where we see a lot of the crashes happen in the past as cars just kind of slide up off the bottom, and right there Collins probably thought he was clear but barely got into the back of Atkins, spun the 30 down to the 5, Collins gets away, now Atkins gets kind of spun back up into traffic, he gets up and maybe not too happy with Collins, yeah, not too happy with what happened right there. Oh, and then Ruiz came up into Wilson, and then Brett Cira had nowhere to go. So really that wasn't Atkins' fault there on that second deal. It was more Baby Ruiz trying to collect his car. See Henry Guo and Anthony Hernandez. Guo got collected, so Tyler Belladonna. And then here comes Lynn trying to stop but can't on the bottom. And the 40 gets collected in a big way. And they see some of the guys that had to basically slow down to stop from hitting the 5. They come into it. They stop at the end and they get back on without any damage. But the points leader, Brett Cira, caught up in this one. See that number 25, he's done for the day. We'll see where he finishes and how this can impact the championship. Here's a look off turn 2 in full speed. Collins into Atkins. Thompson does a great job keeping that car out of harm's way up to that point. Yeah, Baby Ruiz, if he could have just slowed it down a little bit more, could have kept that crash from happening, that secondary crash. It was more Ruiz coming up that started that rather than the 30 coming up into the number 12. We'll go on board the points leader, Brett Cira, caught up in it, none of his doing, and that's the troubles of starting mid-pack, especially at a short track. Anything can happen, and it did happen for Brett Cira. On board with the points leader, Brett Cira. Carnage in front, he thinks he hasn't missed until right here. 4 wide in front, collects number 25 in an accident. Cira done for the day as second in points, Mathis Wells leads the Dodge 400. We'll see how close that points battle might come down to the final race of the season. The green flag will come back out in the Dodge 400 here at North Wilkesboro with 70 laps to go. Mathis Wells from pole has led every lap so far and is still the race leader. Comes in second in the point standings. Luke Rainey came in third in the points, currently second on the racetrack right behind him. The 3 cars out from that crash are Benny Lynn, Laura Chung, and Brett Cira. So Cira will finish in 40th place here today. There is still a shot for him to lock it up if Mathis Wells, Luke Rainey, and some of the others have bad days. We'll just have to see, right? Mathis Wells, Luke Rainey, they're on a very, very narrow cushion now. They still can't finish outside the top 8 or so. So Brett Cira still has a shot to lock it up here today, but needs those 2 up front to fall back. So you have Wells and Luke Rainey. Jordan Stout, Jay Randall, Hunter Reed, the front 5. Remember, Roush Racing had a fast car here a few times, and nearly won this race last season. The green flag back out. A very stacked up restart. Wells did not really get going in the 20 car. Luke Rainey's over the back off turn 2. Jordan Stout couldn't get going. Jay Reno jumps low on him. The front six get away. Rainey all over Mathis Wells. Not only are these two trying to fight to stay in that championship battle, they're fighting for second in points because they're only separated by just 2 points. Jordan Stout was 3 wide almost. Got clear of Reed and Jericho, luckily. Got down in line. But for the lead, Luke Rainey going for his first win of the season. Moves low down the back straightaway on Mathis Wells into turns 3 and 4. Rainey has it with the bottom lane. Car number 88 now leads the Dodge 400 here at North Wilkesboro. Wells might just fall back in second and maybe get in line. He kind of fights back to the top. Should be able to get down in front of Jay Rando in third. Jordan Stout in fourth. Jericho is fifth. Reed trying to fend off Riley Spiritu for sixth. Spiritu over the back, down to turns 3 and 4. Wells still at the racetrack. Here comes Jay Rando for second place. Max Davis was trying to stay inside the top 10. He got put high by Justin Zeidel, who's in his final 2 races. Frederick Motorsports. Zeidel moved to 9th. Davis back to 10th. Here's the battle for second. Wells and Rando side by side down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Here's from high above the North Wilkesboro track. There you see Tyler Belladonna a few laps down, has finally left pit road, repairing that damage, but the 77 once again a few laps off the pace. Wells still can't get down in line. Here's Jordan Stout to third. Jericho, his teammate, might look for fourth. Jericho still in that fight for second in points as well. As mentioned, just 90 points separate second to ninth. So anyone from second to ninth in points still has a shot at second place. Max Davis moved back by Zeidel to get to ninth. Zeidel under fire from Evan Hunter for 10th. Hunter trying to keep a top 10 spot in the point standings, even the top 5 spot in points. His teammate Tim Gary trying to keep a top 10 has marched his way through the field. He started in 22nd place. Gary is moving up now inside the top 20 again by Jacob Miller in the 57 for a top 15 spot. So Tim Gary moving through the field just like he did last race at Homestead. This number 10 car, they don't really qualify all that well, but they really find a way to get that car good for the race, and it's showing right now. Gary for 14th on Matthew Burnett, who dominated this race last season. Matt Tuck issues. He's on the pit road on the 32 car. Joe Gibbs' teammates battle side by side. Jericho made the pass on Wells. Maybe he's now letting Wells back go because he knows the 20 has a shot at the championship and the 18 does not. So Wells back up to 4th. Jericho back to 5th. Tyler Belladonna ahead is the lap car. Hunter Reed going back for 6th on Riley Spur. The 2 Fitzwater moved by Zeidel. Remember Zeidel taking Fitzwater's ride at the end of this season as Mathis Wells goes high. Now they're going to be 3 wide with Matt Tuck leaving pit road. Tuck stays to the bottom. The Joe Gibbs cars got put in an awkward position. And now Mathis Wells might lose even more spots. Hunter Reed, though, gets loose off the corner. Can the 20 get down that little hole right there? I think he's going to. So Mathis Wells avoided right there, falling back big time as Evan Hunter goes for 9th on Max Davis. Fitzwater is 11th by Zeidel. And how about Tim Gary, moved by Joshua Harrison to get to 13th. Riley Spiritu Winter's 4th in the point standings. Evan Hunter just a few spots behind him in points. They're going to go at it. That's for 8th. Luke Rainey's caught Tyler Belladonna. Gets down to the inside the 77 and puts him another lap down. Now Jay Brando's turn to move to the inside and try and get by. Already 21 laps completed at the line. Evan Hunter still trying to get more spots. Looking on Kukulon, that's for 7th. And Max Davis going for 9th on Riley Spurley-Tube. Both the lap cars got put high. Tyler Belladonna's up high. Matt Tuck moved high. Jericho might try and move around him. I think thinks better of it because they were going to be 3 wide if he made that move. There's Hunter, 7th place by Sebastian Kukulon. Jordan Stout, Matt Tuck made some contact off 4. Tuck moves by the lead lap car, Stout. Now Stout trying to keep 3rd from Chris Jericho. Hunter did get by Max Davis, or excuse me, got by Kukulon. Davis got by Kukulon as well. So now move Davis up to 8th for the Wood brothers. Evan Hunter now catches lap traffic as Chris Jericho catches Jordan Stout down to the inside. That's 3rd place. And as mentioned, Jericho had a car fast enough to win this race last season and did. It was Matthew Burnett who had the fastest car in the race. Hunter got caught by Belladonna. He's going to lose spots, but it was Burnett who had the fastest car, but Jericho was fast enough to maintain with them for much of the race. And then when the 17 has pit issues, the 18 stole it from the 17, but definitely had a fast enough car to be there at the end. Right here, Hunter and Spurley-Tube as Davis moves by all these guys. They're log jam off turn 2. This is for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, 13th, and 14th. Davis gets away in 7th, Kukulon 8th, Spurley-Tube now 9th. Wells moves to 4th by Jordan Stout. Hunter trying to keep 10th. but Zachary Fitzwater Sr. moves low and is trying to grab a top 10 spot away. With Zidell right there in 11th. Gary now in 12th. 13th for Richardson. DeLello up to 14th. He didn't really start all that well. And Harrison back to 15th, but still a very solid day as Hunter and Zidell get close. I think Zidell let him down in line right there. So Evan Hunter stops the bleeding in 11th place. Crazy racing though. Here's Max Davis really charging now. Going for 6th on Hunter Rainey. He's going to take it. Stout misses 3 and 4. And Max Davis could take the top 5 away. He will. Matt Tuck got a lap back because of those fresher tires. He's driving away from the leaders. That just shows, he doesn't have that much fresher tires, but fast enough, I guess, as Max Davis moves to 5th by Jordan Stout into turns 3 and 4. So Stout missed that corner. It's going to cost him a spot or 2. Hunter back to the top 10, getting by Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Tim Gary, middle of 3 wide. Richardson up top. DeLello down low. He's in a Roush sandwich right now into turn 1. DeLello's going to get a 2-for-1 deal. He's going to, 13th place. Gary's going to try and keep 14th off Richardson. Eli Bright moved through the field nicely. The number 8 car just outside the top 15. Had a horrendous starting spot outside the top 30. He's now up to 17th, right in the back bumper of Harrison for 16th. Matthew Burnett still searching for that first win since 2001. Nathan Norman, a very solid day inside the top 20 for Bill Davis Racing. Colin Lewis inside the top 20 for Melling Ultra Motorsports. Both those cars looked fast in practice, or at least decent in practice, and didn't have the qualifying pace. Jacob Miller started up inside the top dozen. Currently sits in 21st. Just got by Crown Jr. Started 4th. Back in 22nd, Nolan Lawrence, who had some slight contact in that accident, is up inside the top 25. There's 2 more DEI cars. Brian Wilson with all that damage. Anthony Hernandez right there in the 1. Looking for this season to end. Lathan Strickland, who's at the back of the field to start and fell back early on. Now trying to come back forward. There's Osgood, who failed inspection, started at the back. Keegan Thompson was involved in that crash, moving through the field again by Kirchner. We're trying to, but remember, Thompson a lap down. There's Jude Martinelli. Evans was in that crash a little bit. Back here, Justin Atkins and Mitchell Collins were the 2 that started it. There's Baby Ruiz and Henrik Welch still trying to stay out there. There's Tuck, and there's the race leader, Luke Rainey. Leads by over 0.8 of a second off Jay Rando, Chris Jericho, Mathis Wells. There's Davis in 5th. Then Hunter Reed to 6th by Jordan Stout. Stout back to 7th, falling back at this stage of the race. Kukulan trying to gain in 8th. Spurley Tube in 9th. Evan Hunter still keeping 10th. Zachary DeLello moving through the field nicely, going for a spot on Zidell. That's for 12th place. He's going to take it. It looks like 3, 1, and 2 using the bottom lane. So it's 0.8 of a second. Separate the front 2 with Luke Rainey over Jay Rando. Let's get to our Gatorade audience analysis for this week. Here's the battle for 6th between Jordan Stout and Hunter Reed. Last week, we had asked which new track for the 2004 schedule are you most looking forward to? And the fans, 50% of them, half of the people that gave in results or gave in responses, said Nazareth was the one they were most looking forward to. Montreal got 37%, Myrtle Beach got 13%. So there are some people out there that are looking forward to, basically every track out there that's coming to the 2004 season. But this week, the final Gatorade audience analysis of the season, as well as second in points, moves to 3rd by teammate Chris Jericho. Jericho down in line in 4th place. This week we're asking about the season and what maybe was the biggest storyline of the 2003 season. Was it Cira's basically dominant consistency throughout the season, not really necessarily running up at the front all the time, but just consistent enough to keep that points lead? Was it the fact that MB2 found a lot of gains this season and really shined and now has both cars currently inside the top 10 in the point standings? Was it Joe Gibbs Racing's lack of consistency, where they've been one of the more consistent teams over the course of a season the past few seasons, where they weren't this season? Or was it the gains that Robert Yates Racing made, where they've kind of come back alive and both their cars currently sit top 5 in the point standings? So given your responses and see what you say. The finale at Atlanta's Max Davis moves to 4th by Chris Jericho. Jericho back to 5th. Meanwhile, Riley Spiritu got to 7th. Kukulan back to 8th. Evan Hunter got to 9th. DeLello got up to the top 10 as Hunter Reed's slipping back, started 2nd place. May have used the tires up, though, because here comes Zidell for 11th. Tim Gary might look for 12th. Eli Bright, though, is also coming alive. Number 8 car sits back in 17th. Now he's up to 16th and gaining on the top 15. He had a gap to those top 15 cars. Now he's right there with them. So Eli Bright could break up into the top 15 very shortly. Hunter Reed still falling back. Loses that spot to Zidell. And here comes Tim Gary to take a spot away as well. Gary right there on Hunter Reed. The gap for second closing up. Mathis Wells is there into the inside of Jay Brando. So he started on pole, led laps early on, lost it to Luke Rainey. Now he's gaining time back. So that number 20 car, not good in the middle of the run, good at the short run, good in the very long run, because we're nearing now pit stops. We're about 5 to 10 laps away from green flag pit stops. So Wells to second. Does he have time to get close enough to Luke Rainey before pit stops to maybe do something on pit road with them? We still have those front six about 2 seconds apart, so it's still pretty close. There's Jordan Stout. He's really gaining now in Chris Jericho. The six have been slipping back, but now he's gaining. You see Henry Guo with his damage comes down pit road early. Maybe thought he was going to get caught soon, just didn't want to have that happen. And Reed's still slipping back. Fitzwater to his inside. That's for 14th, and he gets it. Reed now might have his hands full. Eli Bright in the number 8 car. As Stout goes for 5th on Chris Jericho. And he'll take it away. Max Davis going for 3rd on Jay Rando. How about this for the Wood brothers? Max Davis with a very impressive result so far. Couldn't get that spot quite yet, but he's there pressuring him for sure. Back here, DeLello moves by Evan Hunter for 9th at 16th, still coming alive. I mean, that car is flying through the field. To dump the track from 11th, here comes Tim Gary. Eli Bright got by Hunter Reed. He's back up high now in the 8 car, though, and Reed back to his inside. That's for 15th place. Jacob Miller still holding steady inside the top 20 and 16th. Mathis Wells is cutting into the lead, down to under a second. It was just about 1.2 seconds 2 or 3 laps ago. Jericho coming back on Stout as well. Those front 5 are within 2 seconds. Front 6 are right there together as well, because Jericho's caught back up to Stout. So we've completed 45 laps, so pit stops could start now. Remember, the fuel window about 45 to 50 laps, but obviously they had a caution early on. Could have helped them save a little bit of fuel and save those tires a little bit to where they're not going to pit until a little bit later on as Jericho goes back for the top 5 on Jordan Stout. He's going to get that spot back. See DeLello trying to fend off Evan Hunter. Enters a little bit higher. Richardson get by Tim Gary back there. It's for 12th. Fitzwater right there. And then you have Reed putting the 8 up high. Now allows Miller and Burnett with a shot to the inside. As Max Davis makes the move finally, and Jay Randall is going to get that spot. 3rd place for the Wood brothers, number 21. And Mathis Wells still cutting into the lead. Luke Rainey has down to about 3/4 of a second. Jericho sends it in on Randall for 4th. Roush car is slipping back here. But their lucky pit stops are looming around this corner. Mathis Wells again took a little bit out of that lead, down to under 3/4 of a second. Jericho to 4th by Jay Rando. Rando trying to keep 5th from his teammate Jordan Stout. Jericho's going to pit. He's going to pit early. So Jericho, the first of the leaders, into pit road. Trying an undercut in the number 18 car. What a gutsy call. Because we've seen in the past cautions come out during green flag pit stops. Traps people laps down. Jericho going for the tires soon. He's the only one on pit road. Remember, Guo came in a few laps ago, but he was, at the back damage to see what the tires are doing for him. So Jericho hoping to see Luke Rainey stayed out, but Mathis Wells comes in for an undercut. So does Davis and Jay Brando. Others, though, staying out the racetrack longer. So Mathis Wells trying everything he can to that number 20 car to try and get to that lead. He brings Davis and Rando in. Evan Hunter is in. Seidel and Richardson, Tim Gary, Hunter Reed, Matthew Burnett, Joshua Harrison, Strickland and Ormond came in. Then the rest are going to be coming in this next lap. There's Luke Rainey bringing Jordan Stout, Riley Spurley to Kukulan. Some of these guys that may be pitted under that caution, staying out a little bit longer. I think Anthony Hernandez still in the lead lap is going to actually come around and lead this lap. So the 1 car still out there, hoping for a yellow flag to come out, trap these guys laps down. The 81 are on that strategy. The 91 is on it as well. There you see Hernandez coming in. Those guys that pitted got to be careful. So the 1 is in, the 81, the 91. Belladonna's laps down. There's Mathis Wells leaving. There's Chris Jericho. And the number 18, Jericho jumps those guys. Can he jump Luke Rainey now in the 88 car? What a call for Chris Jericho to come in that soon. It might pay off for him. I don't think Luke Rainey's going to beat them off pit road. There's Luke trying to get up to speed on the apron of turns 1 and 2. Chris Jericho comes by. Car number 18 goes from 5th to 1st on pit cycles. What a call for the crew chief. Pitch Joe Gibbs 1-2. Wells is up to 2nd. Luke Rainey pitting later. Back to 3rd, and under fire for Max Davis as the 1 and the others now leaving pit road. Jericho cycles out to the lead, and now they're going to be in lap traffic. Front 4 within a second still. You see Mitchell Collins coming out with the leader, Chris Jericho. Jericho gets clear. Wells and Luke Rainey get clear of Justin Atkins. Now Max Davis has to fight by the 30 car. Now Atkins has slightly better tires, but is that damage going to be enough to allow that 21 to clear off corner exit right here? Wells trying to get by Collins to keep touch with his teammate, Chris Jericho. See those guys like Matt Tuck that came in a little bit, later after the caution. Coming down pit road now as Davis is still struggling with Justin Atkins, the lap car. I think the 30 is slow enough down the straightaways that the 21 can't get behind him, but fast enough through the corners that the 21, doesn't get behind him as well. So right there, he finally gets down for Max Davis. Lost some ground, though, from 4th place to 5th place, Jay Brando. So we still have 5 cars within about 2 seconds. Then 6th is Stout, 7th is Sprayly Tube, 8th is Evan Hunter, Zidell 9th, DeLello back to 10th, Richardson is 11th, Fitzwater 12th, Tim Gary 13th, Kukulon 14th, Bernez 15th, Miller 16th, Eli Bright 17th, Henry Guo, who came in early, is now up to 18th, now down to 19th, but if he doesn't have to pit again, it was a solid call because he was back there around, 35th place or so. Damaged car at the back of the field. This is a really big call for Henry Guo. Now puts him up inside the top 20 as they run, even though he has that damage. Nolan Lawrence just moved by Joshua Harrison for 20th. Harrison down to 21st. There's Nathan Norman and Anthony Hernandez on the lead lap. Martinelli top 25. There's Sabet Oskin. Nathan Strickland trying to get some spots by Conrad Evans. Nathan Baird is there. There's Colin Lewis. He tried the overcut. Jack Carter. Keegan Thompson laps down. Rich Crown Jr. from 4th is all the way down to 31st on the same straightaway as the leaders. Chris Jericho, Mathis Wells separated by half a second, catching now Matt Tuck. He's not yet come down pit road. He came in, remember, early on under the green flag just after that caution flag came out. He's on a lot older tires. Jericho moves by him to put him now a lap down. So Tuck was trying to stay out there, catch a caution, get a pit stop, but it looks like he's going to have to come down under the green flag and lose some more laps. So Jericho and Wells get by him. You can see how slow he is, though, with those worn tires. Luke Rainey gets around. Here comes Collins and Atkins. They're both a lap down. They fly by Tuck. Then here comes 4th and 5th, Davis and Jay Brando. Davis gets by. Brando gets by. And that held up Wells a little bit as well. He was within half a second. Now he's 0.7 of a second back, but still close enough to his teammate if things were to go awry for them. 20 laps to go as well. Jericho goes a little bit high from the lead. Maybe we'll lose a little bit of that lead to Mathis Wells in the number 20 car. He did. He lost about 1/10 of a second. 19 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro. Front 3 have got clear traffic, so I have to think if there's no yellow flag, it's going to be these 3 to have a shot at the win. We'll have to see with Jericho, right? It looked like he kind of struggled in the mid-stage, but so did his teammate Mathis Wells. But he didn't really struggle as much as Jericho did. Luke Rainey was the car that was best in the middle stage of a run. Did those Joe Gibbs cars adjust what they needed to, or are they going to have that same fate over this run? It's a shorter run as well. They pitted with like 30 laps to go, maybe even less than that. So we'll have to see, but Wells really gained that time with 0.6 of a second. He caught about 0.2 of a second down to 4.5. So Mathis Wells is coming, trying to get up there and get some more points. He goes high that time through 3 and 4. You see Matt Tuck finally on pit road as Davis and Brando are going to battle for 4th and 5th. And even if Davis can't hold on to 4th place, still what a great run for that Wood Brothers team. It looks like he's going to finish inside the top 5. He has 2 seconds up on 6th place Jordan Stout. That is quite the day for Max Davis after starting inside the top 20 and racing his way up on pure pace, up inside the top 5, even the top 3 at points. But right now it's Mathis Wells and Chris Jericho, 2nd and 1st. For Joe Gibbs Racing. Give an update on some drivers that are in some points battles, like Tim Gary's trying to keep 10th in points. He's currently 12th. This is big for Jericho as well. He really dropped in points after Homestead, that bad day, failed inspection, got involved with that crash with Nathan Norman, and then tried a strategy, kind of fell back late. Big for him. He had dropped down to about 7th in points, trying to get it back. I don't think he's ever finished outside the top 5 in points in his career. He's not wanting to change that this season, but here this season, going for back-to-back Wilkesboro wins, it's going to be hard because his teammate Mathis Wells is right there on the bumper going for it as well. 13 laps to go in the Dodge 400. We have 3 cars within 0.7 of a second. The front 2 within 2.5 of a second. And it's 2 teammates, Jericho and Wells, 1st and 2nd, competing for the win. And will they catch lap traffic is the question. Davis kind of pulling away from Jay Reno back there, trying to keep that 4th position. Still 7/10 separate the front 3 with 12 to go. .11 laps to go for Chris Jericho. Luke Rainey really gained that time, gained 1/10 of a second, gained on Mathis Wells. He has to try and find a way around Mathis Wells if Wells can't get to his teammate Chris Jericho. Oh, Wells went up the track. Here comes Luke Rainey. This is a shot to get to second and have a shot at Chris Jericho. Remember, Luke has not yet won this season. 10 laps to go. He enters third in points, just 2 behind the man. He's battling for second on the racetrack. As they run, Mathis Wells has second in points. Now as they run, Luke Rainey has second in points. That's just how close it's going to happen. Henry Guo off the pace in the 0. Obviously, the older tires starting to come into play, wearing out. Jericho has to find a way around him timely so that Luke Rainey can't really catch up. Rainey completes the pass on Mathis Wells. Jericho's going to move low to 3. Guo gives him the lane down to the bottom. Now can Luke Rainey make it work that easily? 8 laps to go at North Wilkesboro. Guo might hold up Luke right here for the set of corners. Older tires damage, and the 88 couldn't get around. Now he's going to get around the backstretch, but does cost him just a little bit of ground to Chris Jericho. Rainey to second, trying to chase down Jericho. He has 7 laps to do it. He has to gain 3.5 tenths. He had gained over that last lap. He gained 1/10. Wells gets by the lap car of Guo, trying to keep up in case the front 2 have issues. As Jay Brando got by Max Davis, the 21 falling off. Jordan Stout trying to catch him. Evan Hunter, Riley Spree to win the battle as well, but the battle for the lead is tightening up. 6 laps to go. It's Jericho versus Luke Rainey, 0.3 of a second for the race victory. And how odd is it for Chris Jericho? He's always said his mentor and the guy he's looked up to as he was growing up trying to become a Winston Cup Series driver was the guy he replaced, Trey Rainey, in the number 18. Well, now it's his brother Luke Rainey battling for a win with him, and 2.5 tenths separate with 5 laps to go. Can Jericho hold off? Can Luke Rainey get there? Richardson flying up to the field. She's gotten to 9th, sprint up to 7th by Evan Hunter. Stout is gaining on Davis for the top 5. Rainey messed up 3 and 4. Might lose some time there with now 4 laps to go. 3.5 tenths. 4 laps for Jericho to hold on for his 5th win of the season, with Ty Keegan Thompson for the most on the season. But we've seen over the course of this race, drivers have missed corners, especially 3 and 4. They get down to the corner a little bit faster than they expected, and it doesn't stick, especially on older tires, and they're getting to those older tire stages now. 3 laps to go for Chris Jericho. Luke Rainey and Mathis Wells are there, giving him pressure. Here we come to 2 to go. Can Jericho hold on a little bit wider through 3 and 4? Luke Rainey hugs the bottom, gets a run. He's within a car length or 2. 2 laps to go for Chris Jericho. 0.2 of a second separate the front 2. It's about half a second between the front 3. Rainey, a great exit of turn 2, gets down the back better into 3, over the back bumper. Jericho up the track. Here comes Luke Rainey to the inside. He gets down to the bottom. Here's the white flag in the final lap in the Dodge 400. Jericho has the lead. Luke Rainey to the inside of turn 1. Rainey entered second in the points. Jericho trying to fight back on the top. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Rainey into turn 3. Caution is out as he comes through 3 and 4. His first win of the season on the last lap past Luke Rainey wins the Dodge 400 at North Wilkesboro. What a day! Oh, they had crashed into turn 1 on the last lap. The yellow had come out. That doesn't matter though. Luke Rainey takes the checkered flag and beats Chris Jericho to win the Dodge 400 on the last lap. I mean, I can't believe that. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Jericho's going to finish in second, Wells in third, and wow, oh wow. Look at Luke's so excited he couldn't. He almost ran into a few guys getting on the pit road, and still might run into some guys. So how about that for your first win of the season? What great fashion to do it in the last lap pass here at such a historic track like North Wilkesboro, and it gives him a shot now going into the finale for the championship. It gives him just that slight shot. becomes the 17th different driver to win a Winston Cup Series race here in 2003. That's now 3 straight drivers on the season that have gotten their first victories of the season. DeLello, Strickland, Rainey. For Luke, that was big. Entered third in points, just 2 behind Mathis Wells. And Luke Rainey gets a max points day today. As we look at the finishing results, Luke Rainey's the winner at 185 points, while his championship rival Brett Cira ends up finishing in 40th place. He'll get 43, so Luke gains some points. As you can see, second place belongs to Chris Jericho as he lost it there at the end. And I mean, that 88 car was just so good over that part of the run. He had really been good after 25 to 30 laps. That's where he really pulled away from the guys. And then after that, that's where Wells and some of the others started to come back alive. I think that's, what was wrong with the Joe Gibbs cars was that they were good in the short run. They were good in the long run. They didn't have the middle part figured out, though. The 88 had the middle part figured out. And you saw the 20 at the beginning pull away. The 88 passed him. And then the 20 started coming back. Same thing with Jericho. He had fired off at the beginning of the race, gained spots, lost some spots in the middle part, started gaining a few back. Then he got to the lead off of pit stops and, was pulling away from guys, but the 88 was just good enough right there in that middle part of the run. As mentioned, Mathis Wells ends up with a third place result here today. Jay Rando ends up in fourth, and Max Davis just holds on for the top 5. So great run for the Wood brothers. Gets that number 21 inside the top 5. And then there's whole sorts of shuffling from 6th on back. So, from 7th on back. Stout ends up in 6th. Then Fitzwater gets up to 7th at the end. Richardson 8th. Kukula 9th. Tim Gary 10th. We had mentioned before we went to that battle for the win, Riley Spraytube, Evan Hunter battling for 7th place. Well, Spraytube ends up in 12th. Hunter in 13th. DeLello was up there. He ends up in 14th. Eli Bright came from a poor starting spot in 16th. Jacob Miller a solid day in 17th. Hunter Reed from 2nd place in 18th. See Hernandez, Joshua Harrison at the top 20. Zabadowski battling up after failing inspection gets 23rd. Nolan Lawrence involved in that crash a little bit gets 21st. And see 28 cars finished on the lead lap. 29th on down, a lap down or even out. The points are to Brett Cira, 40th place. Sarah Kirshner might have been involved in that crash as she ended up retired from the race in the 33 car. Laura Chung, Benny Lin also out in the 9 and the 40 as well. We take a look at the point standings. Luke Rainey's max points day, and Brett Cira with only 43 points. Rainey gains 142 points on Brett Cira, making it mathematically possible for Luke Rainey to win the championship next race out. I mean, it's once again a very slight chance, right? I mean, he entered into North Wilkesboro 258 back. He gains 142. So he's 116 points back. That's a lot to gain in one race. However, we saw today he gained nearly that much, or he did gain that much in one race. So if Brett Cira has issues at Atlanta, Luke Rainey can close in. Mathis Wells also did his part. He ended up 3rd. He led a lap here today. So, he led laps today. He didn't lead the most laps, though. But 3rd place, he gets 170 points. Brett Cira, once again, didn't get that many. He only got 43. So Mathis Wells gains 127 on Brett Cira. So he enters into Atlanta with a shot at the championship as well. He had entered this race 256 points back. So now Mathis Wells is 129 points back. Those are the 3 drivers that have a shot at the championship come Atlanta. So we have Brett Cira still leading by over 100 points. Luke Rainey needs a miracle to happen at Atlanta. He's in 2nd. Mathis Wells, 3rd in points, needs an even bigger miracle to happen at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll have to see how it all plays out next week on JRTV. The Napa 500 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the finale of the 2003 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. Brett Cira could have locked it up today, but he faltered, got involved in a crash early on, retired from the race, while the 2 drivers that had the closest shot to him finished 1st and 3rd here today at North Wilkesboro. What a day it was. A last lap pass gives Luke Rainey his first win of the 2003 season. He wins the Dodge 400 here at North Wilkesboro. Congratulations to the 88 team on a very thrilling result here today. For everyone here on JRTV's production, we'll see you guys next week right here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.